I'm Amelia Dalton from eejournal.com on the scene with Mike Gianfagna of eSilicon. Thank you so much for joining me today, Mike.
Pleasure, Amelia. Always love talking to you.
Now, I heard that eSilicon is changing up the whole semiconductor quoting process. Now, tell me how you guys are doing that.
Well, actually, we are changing up the quoting process. We're planning to do a lot more. We want to revolutionize the entire way integrated circuits are designed and procured using the internet. But let's start with the quoting process. What we've basically done is taken processes that can take anywhere from 1 week to over a month, where you want to get a quote for, say, a multi-project wafer. Sure. So that's a technology where you can share a set of masks with a bunch of other customers and get your prototypes back. Typically, it takes about a week of telephone tag, meeting with the supplier, trying to figure out when the next shuttle is,
right,
who's on the shuttle, what technology fits my needs, and then a week later, you'll finally get a quote. We do that on the internet with a very simple set of forms to fill out in about 2 minutes.
2 minutes. That's it.
Including getting an executable, legal binding quote in your inbox when you hit, I'm done. So we've done that. For GDS2, that's even more complex. If you want to tape out a full design to have the NRE prototyping work done and then the volume production delivery of chips in the time frame you want, to figure out what that's going to cost is typically 2 to 4 weeks of a lot more meetings and a lot more telephone tag. Right. We do that, in about the same amount of time. It might take an extra minute because there's a few more menu items to pick, but you hit quote and you get a quote in your inbox that's legally binding. So we're literally changing the way people get quotations and the way they explore their options. When it takes a week to make a quote, you're probably going to do 1 or 2, and that's it. Sure. If you can do it in 2 minutes, you'll explore a lot more options. You'll self-educate. You'll self-select. You'll figure out the right answer, and that's what we're seeing.
I've got Bill Isaacson from eSilicon to give me a little tour of your MPW portal. Now, let's show me. What are we going to do here?
Sure. So we're logged into a web portal, and today we're going to go through the options to generate an MPW quote. We'll see how fast and easy it is to do and how quickly we can produce it.
Let's go.
First thing we need to do is pick a project name, and today we'll just call it Demo. Now we need to move on to selecting a foundry that we're interested in quoting. You can see here we support 6 foundries today.
Nice.
We'll just pick the default for today. That's TSMC.
Okay.
And now we can look at the technology nodes. Today on this foundry, we support 20 nanometer down to 350 nanometer. If we were to maybe just change to a different foundry, you'd see that the options that are available to us will change. So it's not just a one-size-fits-all quoting system. It's specific to the supply chain that we're looking at.
Great.
So let's go back to TSMC, and we'll just 28 nanometers selected here, so let's use that.
Okay.
We support all the different flavors of 28 nanometers, so you can see there's 4 different ones here, and I'm going to pick HPC. That's where I do a lot of my quoting today.
Okay.
We get the choice of are we going to bump the die or not. In this case, why don't we say no.
All right.
Next, we need to pick how big is this die that we want to build. I'm going to go out, I'm going to build a test chip in this scenario. It's probably not going to be tremendously large. Why don't we call it, in this case, I don't know, 14 square millimeter. That's a good number. So it automatically tells me over here that that is 3.5 blocks, calculated by the block size from the foundry, up in the upper right. And now I finally get to choose, is this one die in that 14 square millimeter, or maybe my design's multiple different versions of the test chip?
Right.
And we'll just say it's one, but we could go and we could pick as many as we wanted.
Okay.
And finally, we have the option of choosing a package or no package. Let's just keep it easy and say no package. Last option, how many die and from what corner wafer are we interested in?
Okay.
So we're going to have a typical wafer. Maybe in this case, it's a piece of test chip for a piece of IP. So maybe I want to get corners and want to characterize that IP. So why don't we just pick one of each corner?
Okay.
So that's giving us 5 total wafers producing 500 die. Now we're done with the input. We just push quote. And this is going to go off and generate a legally binding quote. It'll be presented on the screen. It'll also be emailed to you. Yeah. So now we have a quote. I'm going to click on it. It's going to open up. So here it is in my downloads. And if we start paging through this, it's going to show us, this is for sample customer demo project, the project name that we used.
Right.
Go to the next page. It's going to give us an NRE. So in this particular case, this is for our multiple tiles that we had chosen. It'll give us the payment schedule. It'll tell us how to requote if there are changes.
Nice.
You can see here there's a signature box. This is a legally binding contract that we're looking at. And then if we go down, it will give the technical assumptions for the project. So in this case, it's saying TSMC 28 nanometer HPC, an unbumped die, 14 square millimeter like we had chosen in the input. 500 parts are being produced, and then over here it's telling us what corners those are being produced. So it's start to finish, 2 minutes.
Less time than ordering a cup of coffee at Starbucks.
Absolutely.
Well, Bill, this was a fantastic tour of your MPW quoting system. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you very much.